people can see us. We have a ledge.
Right here.
I'm going to start preaching if you give me any more setup here.
Preach it!
We are very grateful, and in a second I'm going to hand it off here to Governor Markell. This is a great time to ask questions. Today especially, with what's going on in our city and our nation, this is probably a great backdrop to start us asking some positive questions about how we can be part of the solution. You know, what attracted us most to Market Street was the fact that you came here, and in areas of the country where people aren't building and aren't stepping out, there was a faith in Lower Market that we saw. We saw a faith, you know, in Mike and in Chris Winburn when they invited us into this kind of experiment or this initiative, and Archer Group, all those places down, the pizzeria going in. We're grateful to be part of people who are taking a chance during this season. And so, with that, Governor, if you'd like to make any comments, thank you.
Well, thank you, Pastor. It's great to be here. This is an unbelievably good idea. I want to thank Congressman Castle, who is being videotaped and interviewed at this moment, so he's waving. The mayor is here. Is the mayor still there? Yep. Mayor, it's great to have you. This has got to be so gratifying to you as well. I also want to thank Alan Levin, who heads up our Economic Development Office, Mike Schwartz, the landlord, and really all of you. This is a phenomenal idea. And at a moment in time when the eyes of the nation and, in fact, the world have been on Delaware almost like never before. In fact, I read this morning that the Pew Foundation has said, they studied it, this election, the Senate election here in Delaware, was literally the most covered election in the entire country this cycle. And so at this moment in time, I think it's incredibly fitting that we come together as a community. You know, considering that tomorrow many of us are going to be down in Georgetown for a uniquely Delaware tradition, which is the tradition of Return Day, when those who ran against each other, winners and losers, sit in the same carriage, and they have to sort of, they talk to each other during the parade, and then we literally bury a hatchet together. The Democratic Party chair and the Republican Party chair take a hatchet and they bury it in the sand of Sussex County to say that the politics are over and it's time for us all to work together. That's what this is all about. And for us to have conversations about where we're going to take this state, how we're going to recommit our efforts to and redouble our efforts to do everything we can to make sure we improve the economic climate, to improve the job opportunities, to improve schools, to make government spending more efficient. That's what it's about, and that's what people are looking for from us. But I do think I want to make one other point, particularly about this initiative, and the fact that the church is involved, and the fact that right next door there's going to be a bit of a community center. And this was not in my scripted remarks, but I do feel moved to say it, and it really refers to one of the best books, one of the most interesting books I've ever read, which was a book called Bowling Alone. It was written by a guy named Robert Putnam, who is a professor up in Boston. And he studied the history of our country basically from the 50s through the end of the last decade. And the book really says it all. The book, you know, it used to be, when many of us were growing up, particularly people like Alan, who are even older than I am, but when many of us were growing up, you know, people used to bowl in bowling leagues. And over a period of time, you know, these days there are many fewer bowling leagues, and frankly, people are more likely to bowl alone, and that's where the title comes from. But it goes beyond bowling, and it goes to the fact that we used to do things, now we watch things. And with the internet and with TV and with video games and Netflix and everything else, we sit in our homes by ourselves being entertained as opposed to engaging in community. We're not in leagues. We don't, you know, we are more likely to look at see a concert, to listen to a concert, than we are to take piano lessons. And so what he found is that over these last 50 years, as we have become much more isolated in our own lives and frankly less connected from each other, there are a whole host of community problems that have popped up. There's more crime, and I love the way that you talk about this place being a front porch for your church. It used to be that people sat on their front porch, literally, in neighborhoods, and they knew what was going on in the neighborhoods. That doesn't happen anymore. And so, you know, not only do we see, you know, more issues with public safety, We see more issues with education. We actually see more issues with poor health as people have become more isolated themselves. And so I think an effort like this, an effort of, by the church to build community in this emerging part, and again, from the mayor's perspective, it must be so gratifying to see this Lower Market Street area taking shape and taking hold, and to see people connecting with each other. This is really what it's all about. And I am really proud to be a governor of a fantastic state and to be here in this wonderful city with great leaders of different parties like Congressman Castle and Mayor Baker, where we learn to work together. And not just ourselves as elected officials, but frankly and even more importantly, with all of you, from places of worship to local businesses, to the social media community. And we're so grateful to Ken Grant for pulling so much of this together. That's right. And we look for, more and more, we are benefiting from the work of the social media community and finding opportunities to connect with each other in person, but also virtually as well. So I think this is an amazingly good idea. And I tell you, after last night, where we had quite an interesting result around the country and an interesting result here in Delaware, I can't think of any better way for us to start and get past the politics. Tomorrow, we're going to be working and announcing near Georgetown with the company down there that we're helping to expand jobs. To think that there are already 10 people working here. And every single day, what we have to do is we've got to focus on how we make Delaware an even more livable place, a place where it's even better to start a business and to grow one. So I want to thank all of you who are involved with this. I'm hoping that Congressman Castle would like to say a few words, and then perhaps Mayor Baker. He's not looking shy. He's finished being videotaped.